Good evening and welcome to EvilGinger Miniatures, where I'm going to be having a little bit of chat about where everything is on the projects that are ongoing and explain a little bit about the weekend and what happened and what didn't happen, and just generally reply to any of you that want to make a comment. Comments are always welcome. First of all, I have recently finished a commission. In fact, it will be going in the post to its forever home tomorrow. But it would have gone in today, but I decided I was going to show it off because it is pretty and I like these. These are Hordes and Heroes from models from Callista Miniatures. They're approximately 12mm tall, foot to eye, and they come on strips. These are Dwarf Infantry. They do a full fantasy range and some historicals and semi-historicals which are compatible. All on a plastic base and painted with strips, rather a bit like the Epic miniatures. They're about the same size as the Epic miniatures, but a bit more cartoony and old school than the current sculpts. And these are archers that go with them. Again, missile troops. Mix of bowmen, crossbowmen, and handgunners. These, unlike the other ones, still come on the strips, but they come in pairs and the strip splits to go on the base. Then, just standard. There are two of these in a pack. You just basically pick a standard out. They're really nice for doing a little bit of freehand on. There's another one in here. These were painted with a mixture of speed paints and conventional acrylic paints with a soft tone wash and over a bi-coloured light and dark background pre-shading. Don't normally use pre-shading on many things, but I find it useful with these because there's lots of bits that it's very difficult to see what's going on, and it helps. Also, if you don't pick bits out, it makes it rather more forgiving to paint. And those are the Callista Hordes and Heroes soldiers who will be going in the post tomorrow. Other project is this round hut. Now, I bought some magnets on Friday, and I've been playing with them. I've not used magnets very much, so this is an experiment piece. I've glued them around the lid, around the join, as you can see. However, I'm not entirely satisfied, and I've had issues with the glue being stronger than the magnet being stronger than the glue. So I'm going to have to rethink that. I think I might use fewer and smaller magnets, because all I'm trying to do is to get this lid just to lodge on, so I can set things up and fill the gap. But as I say, I find it very difficult to tell which side of the magnets is which side of the magnet. So a couple of magnets is going to be easier to manage than four. Though four would give a better result. And I'll just do a fillet of milliput around the bottom just to hide the gap that there is between this base plate and the base plate of the roof. But if we get the magnets right, it shouldn't be that much. It should be just two magnet thicknesses. But that we do. But if we get the magnets right, it shouldn't be that much. It should be just two magnet thicknesses. But that we're doing. I've also been doing a bit of scratch building. The scratch building I've been doing are of these bits of scenery. These are generic bits made of milliput rocks. The ones I make with spare bits of milliput, for the most part. It's been painted with MP Earth Brown, which I need to get more of because I'm running out of it quite severely. The bricks have been painted with Army Painter grey brush on primer. and they have so far just been washed with Army Painter black wash, thinned with a little bit of the Army Painter speed paint medium, which is actually quite a nice general purpose acrylic medium, and I would highly recommend it as such. General purpose acrylic medium, and I would highly recommend it as such. It's a bit runny if you put it in speed paint, but it's thicker than water, and if you want a little bit more speed painty type paint, there are two more of these. These are relatively intact for grubbed out ruins, but again, they've all been made the same way. Occasional bits and pieces have been done with fresh milliput, just to do, I think, Scara Bray and stuff like that for this sort of establishment. Little stone built houses. Probably a couple more of these to do, and then I'll have more than enough for my needs. It's got all sorts of uses, range of Shadow Deep, and that sort of thing. And this is another one, another small 2-roomed house. Again, MDF terrain base. Surface is sand. I'll pick some of the sand, the grit out in grey when I reprimer, when I re-highlight the walls. Again, and then I should do a brown wash over quite a lot of it. This one, which I've just shown you, I've got to point out, is instead of it being one continuous building with 2 rooms, it's actually 2 smaller buildings, with the doors being there and there. Again, lots of scenery. There's some foliage to go on there, and some tufts, and some static grass, just to make it a little bit, add a bit more detail. I could put snow on it, and it would be reasonable for more time. Frostgrave terrain and terrain like that will also work quite nicely for more time. Where whilst most of the buildings are timber framed, a lot of them have stone or brick courses at the bottom, and that would represent buildings that have been burnt to the ground. Literally, they've just been burnt down to the foundation level, which is usually just enough the ground that the damp doesn't get up too far and infect the wood. The big project, which is over there on the painting table, I'll be showing off in stills tomorrow, because it's the Cow Space Marine Army that I have been plodding away with, and it is making progress. I'm still waiting on the correct painting handle for Dragon. The Dragon painting handle was done badly because I mismeasured the blades of the cross that fit into the model, and as a result it won't fit into the model. The nice gentleman that did it for me is doing another one, and I have hopefully properly measured it. I did a dummy because the way I was going to do it was with a pair of round bases with a slot in them. Sorry, a pair of, not round bases, pill bases with a slot in them, and saw it so that they work to the cross form and just hold it in some sort of grip. This is going to be much more efficient, and there isn't going to be any play between the bases and the rest of the whole thing once it's all at a size when it fit. I would have filed it. Unfortunately, the file and the plastic it's printed in don't agree very well, and it's going to be a lot easier just to print it the right size. So I will put that on Thursday, which will mean that the last job will be doing that Dragon. Done a lot on it, but as I probably pointed out to you, that there was some mechanical damage getting caused by me handling it as much. But if I'm handling a handle that isn't actually part of the model, much better. And I can just do the fiddling about for the small bits of detail that I can't get at because of the handle. The Cow Space Marine things are driving me slowly mad, and I'm doing them in bouts and then going off and doing something else to calm down and sane out. One of the projects that I'm saning out on is this, which is the pretty much the rest of the Dutch infantry platoon. This is sections, one advancing with a gun over the shoulder, same as the one I've already finished, and another one with the Lewis gun prone. That's what these prone bases are here for. These are, as I probably pointed out in one of the little linked videos about this, wall bases, and they are 30 by 60 MDF. And I'm going to be using them for all of my Dutch and Dutch East Indies. Waiting for more of these because there is a whole new range of these coming out at some point in the near future. And when it comes out, I will want to bulk what is about a platoon without its commander out to somewhat more. I don't want, there would be a lot of repetition of pose. The Dutch have already done are over there. These will be going into that, and I'm working on them slowly. Got a load of dead man's hand buildings to do. This is what I brought out. This is the set of rules I'll be using for them. The organisations are in here, and these go with chain of command, which I need to pick up another couple of copies of because my copy has disappeared. And the surest and certainest way of finding it will be to summon it by buying another copy. And poor old Two Fat Ladders, a bit of a rough time. They had a bit of a massive surge. Ain't going to do any harm. It'll make me feel a bit better being helping out. But as I say, these will be demoed. Those will be, the Dutch will be used in demos, and I need to get some German Op 4 built to fight. And you get it. You know, it's the classic wargaming thing of stuff. Then, you know, a small project of let's paint a section just for practice, then becomes a thing. This is why the Shelves of Shame, which I will do a proper film review, but I need a camcorder because my attempt to do it with a webcam wasn't particularly good. You can look at it on here, and you can see the amount of motion blur that was just got from me doing that with the camera. The camera that I was using is probably obviously not stabilized at all, not even when it comes to not even as much as this one. This one will do film. Unfortunately, I can't get the software onto this very easily, and I'd need to faff around with the CD and putting it on a pen drive and then putting it on here and then converting from the strange form of video format that this uses to something like AVI or MP4 that I can upload. But we're working on it. It's again another skill I have to learn, and as it took me 40 years to learn how to paint, I'm glad I'm a dwarf, and I'm going to probably see 300 at this rate. So I'm hunting for terrain, I'm doing lots of bits and pieces, and generally getting on with things. So I might call this a really early one, a short one, because my sleep-wake cycle is still a bit buggered from whatever it decided to do at the weekend. Weekend. The plan was to go over to Bosworth on the Sunday and to take part in the yearly Bill Hooks Bash thingy that John Martin and Andy Murby organise, and do a bit of advertising, because I painted quite a chunk of the models in that collection that get used for that. Not all of them, but I painted a good chunk. And I've painted more since, and I've painted traumatically enormous numbers of Swiss for John. And it's always nice to go and talk to him and see him in person, because he's a nice chap and a good customer. And he kept me going during lockdown when my business went through the floor completely, mostly because he was off work shielding, doing another part of the Bosworth Big Battle Bosworth project at home, and being paid rather more for it than I was. But yeah, he got you know, he's been a really good lad, and Andy Murby has been his best mate for years, and has put up with a lot from John, who is lovely but is a git, and he agreed with that. I think, you know, watch any of his videos, you know, grumpy old git. He's not that grumpy, really. He does good cake. As I say, this is where we are with these. These are at blocking in stage. So far, that's a version of field grey for the uniform, deep brown greys for the helmet, and the dark satchel brown speed paint for the boots. The putties will be done grey, and various other bits of kit will be then picked out in various shades, other shades of field grey, which is not quite the same as the German one. The German one is made by mixing two colours from the MP range, mid grey and deep bronze green. Deep bronze green being the colour of the helmets as well, and a really classic colour for a 1930s green painted military thingy. It was also a very easy paint to make. In fact, I could make it at home. You need oil and you need two pigments. And the pigments you use are carbon black, soot, and yellow ochre. And you mix the two together until you get a nice mid-green colour. And that's deep bronze green. The deep bronze green from MP on the helmet is pretty much exactly the right colour. It's also the colour of a called Russian green for no apparent good reason. But there were various variations on it. The American olive drab was a variation on it. Most of the colours, it depended how you. I think even I believe Don't Glib is possibly yellow ochre with a tiny amount of green in it. Well, a tiny amount of black in it to darken the yellow. So it's again a really easy colour to paint mix, and it's made of really basic materials, especially in a situation in a world where, because they're both natural pigments, one's effectively soot and the other one is a mud, a yellow mud that you get. Red ochre is also another really easy colour to make a pigment out of. And you get a rusty brown, and you get a muddy yellow, and you get a green if you mix, and you get black, and then you get green if you mix the yellow and the black together. Just one of those silly little things that you pick up. Again, like the various dyes that you can use on ancient and fantasy figures and just justify some quite bright, happy colours without invoking technology and or magic to justify them. I mean, there is even a form of high visibility, I think it's pink, that whilst it's not terribly colour fast, can be made, and again it fades to a lighter pink. That's the main reason why peasants wore lighter colours than rich people, is they couldn't afford to get stuff re-dyed, and they couldn't afford new stuff as often, so they wore it while it faded and wore. A bit like me, really. I wear clothes out nowadays. I don't buy new ones much. But that's sort of an aside, because you make a small. The only way to make a small fortune doing painting is to start with a large one and work it down. Anyway, I don't think I'm going to be on for much longer, because, as usual, the chat is a bit full of people, and part of this whole project is to respond to the chat. And if there ain't no people in the chat, there's very little for me to do apart from talk to myself. And despite reports, I'm not quite that bonkers yet. So I'm going to let everybody get going. I'm going to plod on with packing that parcel so I can get it in the post tomorrow, bright and early, so the young gentleman who ordered it off me can have his toys. Thank you very much for watching, either now or in future, and I will be back on Facebook to see you tomorrow, more than likely, and I will be back next week for this, and you may get a special edition of the Dutch at some point later in the week, when I've done more than just blocking 3 of the colours. as I say, I've got to turn this, by the way, is foam scenery. I often use boxes of things to just port things around on. Turn these bollocks. Sorry, clumsy wargamer strikes again. Into more of these, because they're the same set range of models, but these are finished, varnished, and ready to use. We just need some nice, well, some painted up Germans to shoot at. Anyway, take care, everybody, and I will speak to you again soon.